Hi, everyone. Welcome to You Belong at ND. My name is Leeann Francisco. I am an assistant director in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions here at Notre Dame. I'm so excited to be having this conversation with you. And today, our topic is going to be fostering meaningful relationships here at Notre Dame. We'll be talking about how our students discover community and find value in the people that they meet here and the relationships that they build. Our mission at Notre Dame is to really empower students to be a force for good in the world, however they see fit. And we do that by educating students both in mind, body, as well as spirit. And we do that in a number of ways. One of the main ways we do so is by fostering that community. So, with students coming from all 50 states and many different countries around the world, how do our students find community? Well, luckily, I do have the honor and privilege of moderating this panel today with some of our current students who will tell you their stories, share how they found community here on campus. So I'm going to turn it over here to our panelists. We'll start here. Go ahead and give us your name, where you're from, what you're studying, and maybe anything that you are involved in here on campus.
Gotcha. So, hey everyone, my name is Damon Snow. If you guys ever see me around, feel free to call me Snow. And I'm a senior here. I'm formerly in Morsi Hall, but I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I major in business analytics with a minor in sociology and another minor in computer science. And in terms of some of the things I'm involved with, I actually am the president of the Black Men Association here, Wabruta, and so that's taking up a lot of my time, but I really enjoy the community and building something for, the brothers that we have here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Ilg, and I'm a current junior here at the University of Notre Dame. I'm majoring in marketing and political science with a minor in journalism. I'm originally from Honolulu, Hawaii, but here on campus, I live in Pasquarello, West Hall. And some things that I'm involved with here is that I am a recruitment and visitation intern for our undergraduate admissions. I'm also a project leader for our Student International Business Council, and I'm also part of the Notre Dame Hawaii Club.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ashton. I'm also a current junior here at the University of Notre Dame. I double major in accounting and finance with minors in real estate and energy studies. On campus, I live in Bomber Hall. I'm originally from North Platte, Nebraska. Alongside Nicole, I am also a recruitment and visitation intern. I am also part of a project leader in SIBC, which is the Student International Business Council. I'm part of REND, which is the Real Estate Club of Notre Dame, and the Asian American Association.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. So we do have a chat going on today. You're welcome to submit any questions that you all have in the chat. We have two of our interns who are going to be answering questions in the chat. We'll also be answering a couple of questions, but I'll start us off today. So starting with Nicole, my first question for you all is, how have you found community here at Notre Dame?
Yeah, I would say that, when you ask like a Notre Dame student, what is your favorite thing about being here on campus? Like 9 times out of 10, the answer is community. So there are a lot of various ways that you can find that. I remember my freshman year pulling up for welcome weekend. You're kind of thrown into dorm life, and that for me really became the first touch point. Meeting people in my hall, whether it be my roommate, upperclassmen. So I was able to meet people through there. And then kind of as time went on, through my majors and through my classes, I was able to be, connected with people who had similar interests to me, similar passions. I was able to join clubs related to that, like SIBC. And then, as kind of time went on, I was able to find clubs, related more to my background and where I came from. And, that's where I found like the Notre Dame Hawaii Club. And that was a really great way to meet people who, came from the same place as I am, and, also the AAA. So there are just so many opportunities to really get involved and find people who you connect with in various aspects.
Absolutely.
I guess I'll jump in and kind of build on that because, like said, community here is such a big thing, and kind of in the same vein, my first touch point with Notre Dame and the community here was with my dorm life at Morsi Hall, where I was welcoming that first week, filled with nothing but activities that my dorm set up, but then also what is it called?
The
Welcome week.
weekend?
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
welcome
yes.
weekend.
It's just so many things to do, and a great time just to meet people across the campus, but also within your dorm. And I had a great opportunity to do that, and built some relationships with, some of my roommates at the time. Finn, love him. He's from Ireland, and coming to Notre Dame, that gives you an opportunity to meet people that you may have never thought you would meet. Cause being an African American, growing up in the U.S., I didn't expect to meet somebody from Ireland my first week here, but like I did, and like that was just one of the many things that Notre Dame exposes you to. But to add to that, in terms of how I kind of built and found community here, I found it primarily through the clubs and through my classes. I am, as I mentioned, a business major, business analytics, and so having that time to be in class and studying for exams and such. I really came close with a lot of my peers as we studied for the same exams, and kind of prepared, and went through a lot of the same struggles, may I say, of getting ready for midterms and finals. And it was there to support me through all of that. But then in terms of the clubs, as I mentioned, I'm the president of the Black Men Association, and that was one of the clubs that I became part of my first year here, along with, the Black Student Association, Diversity Council, a committee that's built to help build out the community and make sure that we're having and having the experiences we should have as college students. And so I was able to be a part of those various different communities and clubs that help build this community we have here at Notre Dame. So
Yeah. Definitely agreeing with all the things that you two have said. I think one thing that is so special about Notre Dame is you can find community in everywhere, in every place, and in everyone. Everyone's always so welcoming and so willing to listen to your story, to where you come from. One of the things I always highlight is the first day I stepped foot on campus, like Nicole, you're greeted by your RAs, which are your resident assistants and your rectors. And then about a week later, you haven't seen them for a little bit after welcome week, right? You would think they would forget your name, or they have 200 other students to take care of, but they remember my name. They remember where I came from my hometown, and they remember like a special fact that we all had to write down on our piece of paper. So that felt very welcoming and warm, that they took the time and effort to actually go out of their way to care for us a little bit, kind of be that brotherly parent figure in the dorms. But reiterating where you two kind of highlighted is community is found everywhere, not just in the dorms. It's found in organizations, it's found in academic schools, in your classes. So I think Notre Dame itself is just a big community.
That's amazing. So what I'm hearing is that there's so many ways that you can find community, but there's this intentionality behind it, that it's not just community for community's sake. It's community because we care, and it's community because we don't just care about you while you're here at Notre Dame, but we want you to build a foundation that goes beyond Notre Dame. I mean, I think that's something so beautiful that our students get to take part in. So Ashton, I want to ask you another question. How does Notre Dame's commitment to dignity and diversity show up in the way that students support one another?
Oh, we take a huge emphasis on our open thought for the diversity and dignity of each individual. So as an example, one of the classes I've taken is called GGL, which is God in the Good Life. It's our first philosophy class that you can choose to take, or you can take Philosophy 1. And what that class does, it facilitates a lot of good and meaningful and thoughtful topics that you would never think you would ask your peers. So one of the topics was, what is the definition of happiness, or what is your purpose for life? There's really not a direct answer for these specific questions, because it's really down to the individual, right? But us having a group of students there conversing about these really hard-hitting questions about what we are doing in our lives today helps me personally to reform my thoughts and my values, to kind of think about, are these the things I want to believe in, or are these the purpose that I am truthfully living for?
Nicole, Damon, anything
Yeah,
you want to add?
definitely adding on to that, like whether it be through your classes or through extracurriculars, there are definitely a lot of important conversations going on, about the importance of human dignity. I took a class called Intro to Global Affairs, where really the whole focus was about this idea that, just by being human, you should be treated with respect and dignity. And then kind of more on the topic of diversity, I think Notre Dame does a great job of celebrating diversity through different clubs, different events. In fact, I know this week, the Asian American Association, they put on a showcase called the Asian Allure, which highlights different cultural events, throughout all the different Asian clubs on campus. And, there are a lot of different examples of how diversity is celebrated and is also just accessible to students of all different backgrounds. So, no matter where you come from, there are opportunities to learn and to engage. And it isn't just limited to, a certain group.
Yes. And kind of just to pick up on, diversity and Notre Dame commitment to that, I feel that Notre Dame gives us as students the resources to empower and support each other. And I have firsthand experience with that as early this semester, I helped coordinate and lead a Black retreat for first-year students. And, that's just one of the ways that Notre Dame gives us that support and giving us the funding to, go off campus for a weekend, be together and be in community with each other and just bond and be together as, a community, like said. And I just find that is very valuable and hard to come by at times. But Notre Dame does that so often for us, and I'm very appreciative to that. And I feel like so many of us have experienced that in our day-to-day. So that's one way that I see that Notre Dame empowers us to support each other.
Absolutely. And I think one common thread that I'm always hearing with students is that there are tough conversations to be had in the world today. I know election week is happening. There's lots of things going on in social media, lots of things that are so divisive. And Notre Dame is a place where we can have those really tough conversations. And students find community, even with people that maybe they're not going to look at things the same exact way, but you're going to find community with those folks. You're going to find a safe space to really talk about, what do you believe in, like in your classes or in your residence halls, on retreats. So it's important to really talk about these things and give students a space. And we're really intentional about how we do that at Notre Dame. So thank you guys. Those are amazing stories. Thank you for sharing. So my last question that I have teed up, and I'm sure there's lots of other questions that are coming through the chats. So Damon, for you, where do you find happiness at Notre Dame within your community? And, how does that community celebrate you? Or vice versa? How do you celebrate that community?
Gotcha. So I would say I find community, as mentioned before, in the clubs. That's one thing that has been, a vital part, a big part of my experience here at Notre Dame. Being a part of the Black Business Association and having, during my freshman year, I had the president at the time. He noticed me in the library, studying for midterms and such. And he came over to me. He was like, bro, what are you doing in the library like late? I think it was around midnight studying. I'm like, I'm trying to get ready for my midterms. He's like, what year are you? I'm a freshman. He was like, man, come over here, come study with us. And he really took me under his wing. And that just symbolized the community we have here. Everybody's looking out for each other, and I really appreciate that. And I feel like every student experienced that experience in one way or another here. And, this being a part of that club, that was my first gateway into being a part of club life. Because before that, in high school, I never was really a part of clubs. But, having somebody who reached out to me really brought me into the fold, really got me involved. And now that's something that I see in my everyday life, and I really enjoy, helping build the community we have here at Notre Dame.
It's amazing. So,
yeah. No, I mean, I love that story you shared. And I think it's definitely, rings a bell with a lot of us here. We each have examples of how, people have reached out to us. And, I think for me, what comes to mind is that I remember, last year, I wasn't as involved in the Hawaii Club as I am now, but how I became involved was that I had a friend and, she was telling me how every spring they do an annual luau. And, I've heard of it, but I never, participated in it because I didn't have any background. And, she really pulled me into it and said, you know what, you can come with no experience, just come and you can hang out with us and learn the dances. So it was definitely kind of scary doing that for the first time, but having the support of everyone there, and how everyone there is just really welcoming. They want to teach you, they want to help you. And, I remember at the end of the year, the luau happened. I was able to invite my friends all around campus and, get the whole Notre Dame community to watch. And so I definitely think you're right in the sense where what really makes Notre Dame different is how much the people genuinely care about each other. And, that's reflected in, when you're walking across campus and people say hi to you, people hold the door open for you in the clubs. So that definitely really rang true to me.
Definitely agree. Like, I think what is a commonality between the two stories that you guys shared is the idea of others helping each other throughout the Notre Dame community. I guess one of my stories is that in CCS, which is a Chinese Cultural Society here on campus, we would have game nights on Thursday nights. It would just be a group of us playing random games. It would usually board games or like poker, but then one of us introduced the game of mahjong. So mahjong is a Chinese like cultural heritage game. It's kind of like poker, but a little bit different. But none of us knew how to play except for this one individual. But so this senior last year, she took the time and effort to teach all of us how to play this very cool game that we all play. We have 4 mahjong sets this week.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so a lot of us are now interested, and we're carrying a little bit of our heritage and our traditions on, even here at the community of Notre Dame.
Those are such beautiful stories. Was there something else you wanted to add?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do want to kind of jump in on the point of celebration. I feel like Notre Dame does a great job of celebrating the various communities we have here. And in particular, as being an African American here, we have a Black Excellence Dinner where we give out awards to recognize people's efforts in building this community we have here, specifically when it comes to the African American and Black community overall. And I happen to, be awarded and recognized for, my involvement in the community, like kind of going back to that story of, upperclassmen seeing me and pulling me into the community. That led to me, building out efforts to support the community, and people recognized me for that and ended up giving me an award, which means so much to me, just to show that I'm valued and I'm appreciated for what I do for the community here at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's such a beautiful story. Again, I think the beautiful thing about that is that the celebration part, and I think that we see that in a variety of ways, not just for the students to learn more about their own culture, but for students to learn about other people's cultures, other people's backgrounds, for faculty and staff to also learn from the students. I think I love going to student events. I've been to a couple of dinner events where they host like really great speakers, and those events are purely run by students, and a lot of them are the cultural clubs that are very often supported by our MSPS, or Multicultural Student Programs and Services. And I'm always amazed at the work that the student organizations put on, and the allyship and the way that we uplift each other is just so wonderful. And it's so Notre Dame. Like, I can't explain it other than being so Notre Dame. But thank you all so much. Those are really, really awesome answers, really great stories. So we do have some questions from the chat. So I can start answering this one. But the question from the chat is, how do we at Notre Dame support and foster community for first generation students? And if anyone wants to share, you're more than welcome to, but I can start us off and say that we have many different ways that we support our students. One of the ways that we do that is we've created a space through one of the student organizations. We've talked about our clubs. There's over 500, so there's something for everyone. But one of those clubs is First G at ND, which is a club that really focuses on the community around our first generation students. We also have some really great programs like the Transformational Leadership Program that invites students who come from backgrounds like being first generation, maybe coming from a home that has a different socioeconomic status than others, and really supporting students in a holistic way, not just socially, that is a huge part of it, but also, thinking about how students are doing academically, how they're doing in their residence halls, how they're preparing for a career after Notre Dame. So those are a couple of ways. Do you guys have anything you want to add, or?
I think
Totally
you
okay.
covered it.
Okay.
I can
Yeah.
also jump in
Yeah.
and say that oh my God, how I'm blanking.
That's
no,
okay.
so another thing that I feel Notre Dame does also support, first generation students, kind of more so on the career side.
Yeah.
Recently, well, not recently, but kind of, I guess it more so became apparent to me recently was that the Career Center has a student-led club, and I'm forgetting the name off the top of my head, but they focus on helping first-generation students get jobs and internships and everything after they graduate. That way, Notre Dame isn't just for these 4 years, but for life afterwards, and helping you connect to the Notre Dame alumni network, which is a valuable part of this community. And I feel like I'm remiss not mentioning that, because Notre Dame alumni network is so strong, and they have helped me out in so many ways, getting internships, as mentioned. Now I'm in a search for a job, and a lot of alumni are reaching out to me and helping me with that. So I feel like that's another big piece of the community we have here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for mentioning that. And they do, I think it's like the first gen career initiatives, something like that. And it's a really great program for our students who are coming from a first gen background and who want that support through the through our career center. So thank you for bringing that up. And our alumni network is so strong. I will say, like, I've met some amazing alumni across the world, and they are so dedicated to the Notre Dame community. I met one really amazing alumni, Martin Scruggs, and he is in Houston now, did some amazing things in the military after graduating from Notre Dame, now owns his own business, and he actually uses Irish Compass, which is kind of like a Notre Dame LinkedIn, and he actually has posted internships and job openings for students, and literally tries to only hire Notre Dame students and Notre Dame alum. So our alumni network is absolutely a great way to foster community as well. So awesome.
Yeah, kind of adding on to that. I remember, you know, when I got accepted into Notre Dame, you know, I actually graduated high school in Singapore, so it was pretty far away. You know, I didn't really know what to expect in terms of being so far away, if anyone is going to reach out to me. But, you know, kind of immediately after being accepted, I was reached out to by, you know, alumni who wanted to meet with me, get to know me, you know, tell me about the school. So I definitely agree with what you're saying about, like, the power of the Notre Dame Alumni Network. Like, you know, even I remember that summer before I even got to Notre Dame, you know, I was offered an internship, you know, just kind of based on this idea of, like, you know what, you went to Notre Dame and I love this place. And, you know, as you guys kind of hear us talking about how much we love this place, I definitely agree with what you're saying, that, you know, it doesn't end at your 4 years there. I think in some ways it grows even stronger after you leave, and because you carry such, you know, an appreciation for your time here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I would add on to that just a little bit. So I had a personal experience connecting with like some of the Notre Dame alumni. So I did my study abroad program in the summer of last year, and I went to Thailand. And that program is fully funded and run by our Notre Dame alumni. So we have a variety of alumni there just helping the students out. They're literally there at the airport picking us up when we land. They're really dedicated throughout the whole world of every alumni club. But that special like 3 weeks in Thailand was completely led by these alumni wanting to show us what their cultures are like, what their living situations like, what their work is like, which is so inspirational in the work that they do. And this year, actually, the Singapore Notre Dame alumni group is hosting the next like Fitzgerald Institute of Real Estate Study Abroad. So something to look forward to.
Oh, that's amazing. And I can attest to the amazing alumni in Thailand when I was there earlier this fall meeting prospective students. They are just so amazing. I will say the international Notre Dame clubs are dedicated. They will watch the games at like 2 a.m. their time. I love the dedication they have to our Notre Dame students and our Notre Dame community. So thank you guys for sharing. It's awesome. So we've talked a lot about some of these rewarding experiences that you've had at Notre Dame through the residence halls, study abroad, your courses you've taken, the community you found. But if you could just pick one, what is the most rewarding experience you've had at Notre Dame so far? And I can see the wheels turning, but I'm going to pick on Nicole. So Nicole, if you want to start us off.
I think for me, honestly, and, you know, I don't just say this because, like, one of my bosses is here, but one of the most, like, rewarding experiences has honestly been working for admissions. You know, being a recruitment and visitation intern, a lot of my work is talking to prospective students, talking to families, and really being able to share, like, my journey of why I came to Notre Dame, and really just being able to spread that message to others, you know, talk about my experiences, and really just helping students, like, discern this experience. You know, it wasn't too long ago that I was applying to colleges, so I remember how kind of overwhelming it can be to go through this process, you know, especially for me because, you know, I was international and being so far away and not being able to visit the school. So again, just having, like, current students who I could reach out to and talk to, get advice with, like, it really help, like, warms my heart that I'm able to kind of be that person for other students and really just, you know, like, tell people how much I love this school. So that's definitely been a highlight of my Notre Dame experience.
Awesome. I promise that wasn't planned
Yeah.
or anything. We did not rehearse that or anything.
Mm.
Yeah.
But no, I guess I'll jump in on this one. And I feel like it's a common thing with me, but clubs. Clubs have made my experience, and that's really my highlight of it. But I feel like my clubs and my involvement with the clubs here on Notre Dame have been a gateway to so many different experiences. One example that comes to mind is my involvement with NSBE, the National Society of Black Engineers, and every year they do a convention. Well, it's an annual convention that they do, and it's be in various places as like this is a like national foundation or whatever. And so like this past year it was in Atlanta. This year I believe it's gonna be in Chicago. 2 years before that it was in oh my God, why am I blanking? San Francisco.
Oh, nice.
And like,
All over.
you know, I got to be a part of one of those trips. The previous one to Atlanta, and you know, just being a part of the clubs and being off campus, having this opportunity to network with professionals, and having a club that supported me throughout that whole progress. Oh my God, I'm stumbling today. But having a club that supported me throughout that whole process was just so enlightening. So, this words can't describe it. Cause you know, coming in, I was afraid of what the future holds for me.
Yeah.
You know, trying to figure out where I'm going to go in life and all these different things. But having a club that supported me throughout my career endeavors, having a club that supported me throughout my fun and cultural endeavors and all those different things really made my experience what it is today. And I'm grateful for that. And I just can't say enough about it. So.
Wow.
Awesome.
I think one of my most rewarding experiences would probably Snow kind of hinted it on it earlier, but where they have the first year Black retreat, we also have the first year Asian retreat, and it's when all the first year Asians would go off campus for a weekend, and that was the first time I've ever like had a touch point with the Asian community here on campus, and that was such a transformative experience because my table leaders, which are kind of like your upperclassmen that lead a small group of first years, they are lifelong mentors to me to this day, and I don't think I would be where I am today without them, without the guidance that they give, without the advice. And now I want to kind of give back in the upperclassman role to the first years here. So this year I partook on the first year Asian retreat as a table leader, just so I can also give back. And I think that's a core value that all Notre Dame students have, is giving back to what they have received from their different experiences.
Absolutely. Leaving the place better than when you found it is something that's so core to the Notre Dame identity, and I think goes back to, you know, our alumni network, and they know the blessings that have come from their experiences here at Notre Dame. They've had lots of rewarding experiences, and they want to open up even more doors for Notre Dame students in the generations to come. So really exciting stuff. I always get excited when I hear your guys' stories, so thank you so much for sharing those. We did have some pretty specific questions from the chat. Nicole, if you just briefly want to talk about, you know, what is it like double majoring for you?
Yeah, so when I came here my freshman year, I was a political science major in the College of Arts and Letters, and I really enjoyed it. But kind of as time went on, I realized that I wanted to have a more, you know, business background. So, you know, it was through working with my first year counselor, and, you know, as a freshman, you are paired with, you know, a first year advisor who helps you kind of work out your classes, you know, if there are any areas you want to explore. So kind of with him, I was able to work out a plan to explore some business classes. And then, you know, when I decided that I actually wanted to transfer to the Mendoza College of Business, I was able to do that. And like I said, now I have a majors in both. And honestly, you know, being able to have that experience in both business and in humanities, I think has really helped me hone some of my analytical skills. I like to say it always helps me really think about, you know, business problems from a really human-centered aspect. And, you know, I think something that Notre Dame really likes to stress is that you aren't just limited to one thing. You know, a lot of my friends and peers have interest in different majors, you know, across different colleges, across different fields. So again, in my case, you know, I still am really interested in political science, but, you know, I was also interested in marketing and seeing, you know, kind of how can I learn how to communicate with people better, and I was able to explore both. And so it's been a really great experience having both of those majors, and I found them, you know, maybe at times balance is always something, you know, you have to work on, but I've been able to balance taking classes in both, and it's been a great experience.
Yeah. This is a message for all those prospective students out there. You don't have to have it all figured out.
Yes, you definitely do not. Like I said, if you're a high school senior watching this and thinking, I'm not really sure what I want to do yet, that's completely okay. I think like a lot of us are probably in that boat.
Yeah.
So again, Notre Dame recognizes that, you don't have to have your whole life planned out right now. And there really is this process of discernment that happens throughout your freshman year. You take different classes, you learn what you like, what you don't like, and you there's a lot of staff and support through your teachers, through your advisors, and they're able to work on you.
Yeah. Again, community isn't just found in where you live, it's also in the experiences you have, and the academic community is super strong here. So we're getting so many really great questions. So this will be my second to last question. Earlier we were talking about study abroad. Ashton, you talked about going to Thailand. I think, Damon, you studied abroad as well. Nicole's looking forward to studying abroad very, very soon. So if one of you just wants to share, either Ashton or Damon, just sharing a little bit about study abroad, what that process looked like, and maybe one of the takeaways you had from studying abroad.
Yeah. So study abroad here is really open to every major and every college for every student. It's not like Notre Dame likes to say, it's not a matter of who and what they can study. It's a matter of when, right? So I came here as a first year not wanting to study abroad at all. And then they just happened to have a study abroad panel where all the study abroad advisors would come and talk to you about their different programs. So I was like, okay, let me go explore. Maybe I'll find a program that I like. And then I went to all the different panels, and they talked about each and every one of their study abroad programs. And it inspired me to actually dive a little bit deeper into kind of identifying what I wanted to pursue and kind of getting a different light for each perspective around the world. So eventually it was just a really quick application, and I got into the study abroad in Thailand. So that was the one that I ended up pursuing. But a lot of my peers do semester-long study abroad. So we have semester-long and summer-long study abroad. But every specific major are not limited to a set study abroad program, so anyone can do anything. As an example, one of our fellow interns, Kate, she wanted to study abroad in Australia, and we didn't have a program for chemical engineers to study abroad in Australia. And she kind of is the pilot for this program that she kind of took on that initiative to explore herself. So a lot of great opportunities, and if there's not one here, you can start one.
Yeah. Absolutely. Damon, is there anything you want to add about that?
Yeah, no, definitely, because, many viewers at home may see, but I'm wearing an Ireland sweatshirt, and, I studied abroad in Dublin, Ireland in the fall of my junior year, and that was just a phenomenal experience. Part of the study abroad program, we did so many different excursions, got to explore Ireland. Like, me being from New Orleans, Louisiana, like, bro, it's so flat in New Orleans. We're below sea level, all that. But going out to Ireland, I'm seeing mountains, I'm hiking. I'm like, this is new. Like, this really opened my eyes. And I would let everybody know, like, please take advantage of the study abroad opportunities they have here, because it's such an eye-opening experience. And I just can't say enough about it.
Yeah. And Nicole, I'm sure when you come back from London,
yes,
right?
yeah, I'm going to London in the spring, so I'm super excited about that. And kind of what I've heard from my friends who have studied abroad is the community that you have here on campus, it definitely translates to wherever you're going. My roommate, she did a program in Rome over the summer, and she always raves about like how great the community was there. The group she was with, they get lunches monthly, and they're able to kind of reconnect about those experiences. So I'm super excited to do that.
Yeah, we'll check back with you in a year to see how you're feeling about that question. I'm sure you're gonna have some amazing stories. London is one of our most popular programs, so super excited for you. So the final question, probably one of the most important questions that our prospective students are wondering. This is gonna be my final question. I just want to acknowledge that there's a lot of students who are listening right now, a lot of families, a lot of folks who are supporting our prospective students, who may be applying right now to Notre Dame, some seniors in high school. And so they're wondering, what made you choose Notre Dame? Are you glad you chose Notre Dame? I think the answer is yes to that. But, really, what was that discernment process like for you? Put yourself in that mind of being a high school senior. You have your fun admissions letter from us, your decision letter. What was that process like for you? We can start with Ashton.
Yeah, so I think what made me choose Notre Dame at the end of the day was the idea and the spirit of community here. So I really felt that presence from the handwritten letters I've received from current students, and alumni just calling me out of random, and just talking to me, raving about the spirit and the community of Notre Dame. So I was in Nebraska and I was on the road, and one of the Notre Dame alumni that run the Nebraska Alumni Association just phoned me and talked to me for 2 straight hours of how great Notre Dame community is and answered all of my questions. And I can never be so thankful for the time that he dedicated to kind of taking me on.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember, when I was kind of weighing out my different college options, Notre Dame was actually the only school where I was able to talk to current students, their alumni. As I mentioned before, like I was reached out to by them and I was able to, have coffee chats with them. And pretty much every person I met who either, was a Notre Dame student, knew a Notre Dame student, just had such positive things to say about the school, more so than, anywhere I've ever met. There's kind of like an ongoing joke, how like whenever you see someone wearing like a Notre Dame merch at the airport or anywhere, they will rave to you about how much they love the school. So again, I remember my thought process, if everyone is telling me how great the school is, maybe I should come and experience it for myself. And, definitely being a junior here now, I can say it has definitely lived up to the hype. Now I'm really able to see like why some people rave about it so much. And again, that is a mix of the great academics we have, of faith life, of community, of sports. There are just so many, amazing ways to be involved. But, the thread that kind of ties it all together is, really that central idea that, we are all here really to have an impact on the world, make the world a better place. And, we are a community brought together by that.
Right. I feel like my experience may be a bit different from my fellow panelists here. As I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I didn't know much about Notre Dame. Like during my senior year, I found out about Notre Dame through a scholarship program called the Posse Scholarship. And I, went through that process, and they basically match you with universities that they feel like will be a great fit. And I ended up getting matched with Notre Dame, and I'm like, what is Notre Dame? I looked into it and did my research. I'm like, okay, this like the gold helmets, the community. Then at the time, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I always had like a entrepreneurial kind of spirit. And so looking into Mendoza, I found out that, that's one of the top, 15, 20, top 10 business schools in the country. And I'm like, okay, I feel like this is a great school for me, on top of the fact that it has a great community that we have here to support each other. Because, that was a big worry of my mom and my father, as well as will I have that support going out of the country, going somewhere, far away from home, and having that community here really assured them, as I had the opportunity to talk to some upperclassmen when I was still trying to figure out, do I want to come to Notre Dame? Do I want to explore other options? They assured me and my mother that, this would be a great school for me, and the academics in the community here would support me throughout that whole process. So I can't say enough about Notre Dame when it comes to that.
Yeah. Well, even though you didn't know much about Notre Dame, I'm glad that you had Posse to bring you in the right direction and brought you to us. And I think what you said is going to resonate a lot with our parents, guardians, family members who are maybe watching with our students right now, and who might be wondering the same thing. Why should my student go to Notre Dame? Will they have the resources that they need to thrive in college? And I think you answered that beautifully. Yes, they're going to have all of those resources and then some, right? We're going to cover your basics, and then we're going to give you a lot more than that. And I think that's the beautiful thing about Notre Dame is we have so many resources for students to access. And the way that they run with those resources just blows my mind. I mean, the things that you three alone are doing just blows me away. And then I talk to other students, I'm like, oh my gosh, how do you get enough sleep? Like, how are you doing all these amazing things right now on top of school, on top of, looking for a job, on top of being a human being who's growing up in college? Like, you guys are doing really amazing things. So I want to thank the three of you so much for sharing your stories, for illustrating what a beautiful community we have here at Notre Dame, for sharing your personal stories, and for telling our audience, why they belong at Notre Dame. And I think what you shared is going to be so valuable for those who are listening. For all the questions that came in, I know that we didn't get to absolutely everything, but you're always welcome to, reach out to our office. You're welcome to reach out to your admissions counselor. I know we have a lot of prospective seniors who are in the audience, preparing your application, or maybe you've already submitted your application. Please feel free to reach out to us, especially if you have questions regarding community life, diversity, inclusion, belonging. All of those topics are so important to us. And if you have questions, we want to answer them. So please don't be afraid to reach out to us. And we hope that we've been able to illustrate what a beautiful community we have here at Notre Dame. So we hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you are in the world. For those of you who might be dressing up and going out for Halloween, we hope you stay safe. Also, just a reminder to all of our seniors, the restrictive early action deadline is this Friday, November 1st. Again, please reach out to our office if you have any questions. But we hope you've enjoyed our You Belong at ND session today. And as always, go Irish!
Mm-hmm.